What up, peeps? It's your girl Dash coming back to you from Real Takes. Today I'll be doing a video that's basically centered around DCEU. This has to do with information that just came out a day ago pertaining to Superman. Now, I know it's all over social media. Matter of fact, I was at work. So this video is basically going to be my thoughts on it, aka a rant. I was at work and, looking at my phone, whatever. I was on my break, whatever. And I was sitting there talking to my colleague. We like to talk about movies, things coming out, whatever. And I literally gasped because I was just like seeing the headline I was seeing supposedly pertaining to Henry Cavill's Superman and how possibly he might be stepping down from playing Superman. There are some changes that is happening with DCEU, with Warner Brothers. And I kind of, was staring at the title and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Where is this coming from? Totally out of the blue. And I thought to myself, okay, now granted, I had been waiting for them to do another Man of Steel movie. Been waiting very patiently because since we got the first one back in 2013, I was excited because let me just be honest, Superman is one of my favorite superhero characters, period. And I grew up watching them because I loved Christopher Reeve when he played it. He portrayed him. He was the epitome, just the grandeur. He will always be my favorite one out of, I don't care who comes, after him, whatever. He just was the symbol of, everything that embodied that particular character when he portrayed him. So when they decided to do the reboot, at first I was just like, trying to think, who are they going to find? And I was not familiar with Henry Cavill. So when I finally saw him, I was like, okay, the build, look like I saw the first trailer, the build up, the music. It was so good, Hans Zimmer. It was awesome. And I was just like, okay, let me sit down my love for Christopher Reeve and let's see what Henry's going to bring to the table. And I enjoyed the first movie, Man of Steel. I know some people probably might not, but I loved it for what it was. And I was excited at the fact that this would open him up to doing maybe a second one, possibly the discussion at the time whispers, of course, down the road a Justice League, or maybe, something with him and Batman. And of course, we ended up getting that. We ended up getting Batman versus Superman in 2016, and then a year later we get Justice League in 2017. So here I am thinking that we're on the verge of being able to consider the thoughts of a Man of Steel 2, and then I see this, and I'm thinking to myself, now, one thing I will say, I wasn't sure contractually bound how many movies he was set to do. Now, from what I've been told, is that he has one more movie he is contractually obligated to give them. Now, at the rate we're going right now with these type of stories that are out here, I beg to differ if that's going to actually happen. And then I'd already knew that he was supposed to do a cameo in Shazam. I don't think that's fitting in with him doing the movie, but that would have been like a nice little cameo if he had happened to appear. But I know it was due to schedulings, he couldn't do the actual cameo, which is kind of a bummer, whichever. That would have been a great thing to be in that movie coming out in April. But my whole thing is, where is this coming from? But then I'm hearing little stories that his agent, Henry Cavill's agent, spoke out and saying some stuff. And then, of course, Warner Bros. Had to come out and put out a statement. Now, first of all, I'd like to know what agent takes it upon themselves to come out and say things, whatever, and not speak with their client who's paying him. That's his client pays him to do his job, but then you need to be speaking to him before you go and speak out, because then we are getting cryptic videos from Henry Cavill. Some people didn't understand. I was kind of clueless. I didn't know what the hell was going on, but I'm like, okay. But then I kept thinking to myself, what is really going on? Is this the thing because they're saying that the negotiations have fallen through? Does this have to do with the money? Are they not happy with the things that, happened, or the money that they made with the other three? So they're not sure if they really want to go with him. But then other things are happening because a couple of weeks ago I discussed how they're, in the process of doing a Supergirl movie. And from what I'm hearing, this definitely has pushed back the possibility of them even considering a Man of Steel movie at the moment for number 2. Okay, I'm down for Supergirl. I enjoyed that movie back in the day. We have a TV show on CW that's doing very well. There's nothing wrong. It's all great and good. It's just funny to me how out of the blue now they're going to do a Supergirl movie. Now we're all about, that. I'm like, okay, the female empowerment, I'm all here for that. But I'm trying to understand, why did it feel like they have room for more for both? I don't see what's the problem. Now, I'm just trying to wrap my mind because I really want to think this has to do with the money issue. And I'm thinking ever since Henry did Mission Impossible 6 Fallout, I think that he's trying to strategize. He's trying to come up. Some people will call him A-lister. He's not an A-lister yet. He's working towards that. He's getting there. He's not there yet. Okay, that movie he just did with Tom's the A-lister on that bad boy. He's not A-list yet. He's around amongst a lot of other different actors who are on that cram. He's just about to be, but he's, I say, more B. You know, in between B and C. He's B, probably B minus. That's just my personal opinion. So I'm thinking he was trying to use this as leverage. You know, as you all see, from case in point with Justice League, him doing Mission Impossible 6, the mustache, the situation, the memes, all that. So, but I'm trying to understand. I mean, okay, Man of Steel did very good. Batman vs Superman did very well. I'm still pissed because of the way they marketed it, because they were showing more in the trailers than they did by the time the movie came out, whichever. But that's another separate rant. Then Justice League, I was kind of upset about that because the way they marketed that, they barely showed him in anything in regards to the trailer or any type of marketing, whatever. At first I was almost wondering, is he even in it? You know, so even though it did well, I think that the powers that be did not like the numbers, so I don't know if they're on the fence to consider a Man of Steel 2. And secondly, my thought is I was really hyped because I love that he worked with Christopher McQuarrie, and I really wanted him to be considered because he's looking for another movie to do. He doesn't have anything at the moment lined up. He's being considered for some stuff, but it would have been nice if he could have been the one to come on board and do Man of Steel. I know Tom wants him for the next Mission Impossible. He hasn't signed on to say he's going to do that or not. Probably will, but right now nothing's written in stone. But the thought of him being considered for Man of Steel 2, if they were really down to do that, and I'm kind of bummed because that dream I had for that to happen is definitely not going to happen now. So I don't know what to think with all this news. I don't know if this is some sort of PR stunt, what they're doing, whichever. And then to add more to it, we're getting pictures where supposedly a name has been thrown out for potentially as a possibility for Superman later down the road, and that's Michael B. Jordan. Now, I'm going to just be frank and be honest with it and all that. Don't bite my head off in the comment sections, but I love me some Michael B. Jordan. But for Superman, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not on board with that. I'm like, nah. I'm really going to be honest. No, I'm not here for that. So that just came out of the blue. I don't know where that came from. You know, it's not to say that's something that's not a possibility, but I just not envisioning that at the moment. So I'm just going to push that aside, whichever. I want to concentrate on what they're trying to do with Henry Cavill. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't speak for everybody. I want my movie. I want my Man of Steel too. And they better find a will in a way, whichever. I mean, dag it, they're finally trying to get their act together with how they're trying to change the way they do the movies through their DCEU. Now we're doing this thing with everything, they were all about the money and the budget, making the money in the blockbuster, even though they made good money, but they feel like it was kind of lackluster reception with the Justice League movie. I don't know how they felt about Batman vs. Superman. All three of them I did like. They were good for what they were. Now we're having this new way. They're trying to change everything around with. Now they want to make everything with a lower budget. So it's not like harbored on that particular situation in regards to the movie. So if the movie does well, whatever, it's not like it's the big part of it. It's like they're focusing on the core storyline and the particular character. Fine. Nothing wrong with that. Now we have all these other different movies that are coming out, working on Birds of Prey, which is in development right now. They're going to get ready to start at the beginning of this year. Next year, Flash. Of course, we already have Shazam. They're probably finishing up, CGI, whatever, getting that ready. It's coming out in April. We have quite a bit of stuff, for that. Wonder Woman. And we have Aquaman this year coming out in December. And then Joker, which I'm excited for to see, whichever. So we have all these things in the works, in the planning, whichever. So I don't know where they can't feel the need to figure out, okay, if they're not going to do it in the next 2 years, what's happening with 2020 or 2021. Matter of fact, okay, if they're going to do the Supergirl movie, which is kind of like in talk still, we have a director, as being put out there, but we still don't have the person who's going to be casting Supergirl. So we're basically at the beginning stage of that. What year is that going to come out? Is that going to be a kind of like an understanding of, okay, if we're doing the Supergirl first, because from what I'm hearing for that one, supposedly, she's going to be a teen, whatever and all, because if I'm not mistaken, whichever, with them being in the past, she was older, and Superman was the baby, so we're going to see her backstory, her origin or whatever, and then find a way to parlay back into this so we can go present day once Supergirl is now a full grown woman or whichever. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around all these little different things, all this little situation that's happening right now, but it keeps making me come back to the fact that I feel like this is all some hype they're needing or whichever. I don't know why, because it just seems like it just came out of nowhere and it's just got us talking. Here I am giving my actual rant about it. So, and I can only imagine the other people that I do follow on YouTube, whatever, how they're feeling, because I saw a couple of thumbnails and the expressions on their faces spoke volumes, So I just think this whole situation with this is some BS. I'm trying my best not to cuss about this. I just think this is a bunch of damn foolery going on right here. And they need to really figure out what they're doing. Like, pay the guy, do the Man of Steel, just figure out what year you want to work on it. And if everything else is timed with all these other movies that are coming out, because I'm assuming this is their way of doing their phase, as opposed to no dig, but I'm just being honest, this must be their way of doing their own phase, like how Marvel has their own phase set up for how they're doing in what order. Then figure out what order you need it to be in to put Man of Steel 2 in there, because as I said at the beginning of this video, Henry Cavill is contractually obliged to do one more movie with them. Give us that one. And if they need to take a break, whichever, that will be interesting, because then after that, if they take a couple of years and all that and they just try to do another reboot like they did with Marvel's Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, and then we switched to Tom Holland and now they found the perfect fit, then so be it. It is what it is, because it wasn't only a couple of years ago Andrew did his Spider-Man movie. I like them, but it is what it is. Tom Holland is the perfect person to play Spider-Man, so I just don't know. And when they do start looking, I'm curious to see who they're going to find. Is it going to be somebody who's, a newcomer? Or is it going to be somebody who's well-known? I mean, the charismatic, the charisma to play this character, Clark Kent / Superman. I just don't know, I'm literally almost speechless to the point now I have nothing else I can say about this. I'm going to keep my eye on this whole situation since it just started the other day, whichever, because I just feel like more and more stuff keeps coming up where they keep updating, saying they feel like now this is some sort of little theatrical thing. I think it's a PR stuff of sorts, because I just found it really interesting out of the blue. And then the fact that Henry's agent decided to speak out first and make these little comments, whatever, and this is what got this ball rolling and just like a ripple effect. So, but yeah, that was just my take on this, you guys. I just... some of these, movie companies, whatever and all that, it's like, figure out what the hell you all are doing. It's like, it's all about the money, obviously, with you guys, but it's just like, you don't want to pay the people, then you want to do the fans wrong, comic book lovers, whatever you want to call it, wrong, and then you just, yank it back, whatever, and then you think we're supposed to be just happy with it and just go along with it. That's how you lose some fans, and that's how you don't make no money at the theater. You keep playing around thinking these things are okay, whichever, and get people invested in characters with certain people playing them, and Henry Cavill says he enjoys playing Superman. So I'm trying to figure out what the hell is the problem. It's like, do you need your fans to come in there and do the job that you all ain't doing so we can get paid the good bucks and all that, so we can get this stuff back on par and just make it happen? I mean, it's just again some BS. So, but yes, that's just my take on this, whichever. Like I said, I normally do my movie news on the weekends, but I wanted to bring something today about this because it was really irking me at work, and I was talking to a friend, two guy friends who read the comics all, and they were afraid to tell me about the Michael B. Jordan part because they were afraid of how I was going to feel, and I'm not too happy about that. That's all of a sudden came in on top of dealing with this and then hearing about supposedly, his name was thrown out, as a possibility. A possibility of what? You're not even going to do the movie, so you're already bringing up Michael B. Jordan's name into the mix for what? You're not making the movie, but let's start talking about somebody else who could fit the character. It's like, slow your roll. It's like, no. Figure out when y'all gonna make the movie, and then we can talk about the casting if Henry is no longer gonna be attached. But that means they'd have to break his contract if you're not willing to pay him or negotiate some money if he wants more money on his paycheck on this last and final one, which I feel is rather fair. I don't know what the problem is. It's not like they don't have the money to pay him. And clearly the agent must want to cut because he's the one speaking out first before the statement came out. So everybody wants their cut. Damn it, I feel like I need a cut. I have to speak in my mind, but anyway. But guys, comment below. Let me know what you all think. If you just think this is some straight foolery, this might be a PR stunt, whichever. How you feel, and what's your take on Henry, his video, Michael B. Jordan's, being in consideration, whichever, and all that. I just want you all to just load that comment section and tell me what you all think. I just want to hear what everybody else thinks about this, whatever, and all that. But that's enough for my rant. Just let me know in the comment sections, and I will see you guys on my next movie news. See you then. Talk to you then, you guys.